Well, good evening, Truck and Tractor Pool fans. Man, we got a real cool night lined up for you tonight. We've got Miss Kendra, or Club Kendra, if you will. How are you, Kendra?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. And we got Keith Hurst. And anybody pronounced your last name properly, right? Hurst.
Yep, that's fine.
It's
Oh,
easy to say Horst, but I know it's Hurst. I was told a long time ago by your dad, it's Hurst, not Horst. I said, okay. But anyway, Keith Horst from the another Red Fox and Red Fox modified Grand National modified mini pulling team, and we got obviously plenty of family history to go over with his father's been pulling many years, and of course Keith, I'm sure as a youngin all the way till now, is fully involved with that as well as some other vehicles we'll talk about too. So, Kendra, what you got for us?
So I am going to start plugging the next Down South pool. We are going back
Talk about
down.
it. Don't plug it. Just talk about it.
I'll talk about it. Let me see what the name of they're calling it. The Baddest Monster Truck and Tractor Pool in Cottonwood, Alabama. That is coming up. This is actually going to be a Saturday Sunday show. Saturday the 27th and Sunday the 28th. Looks like they're going to have a lot of the same typical classes that we've been seeing down there on the what we'll call the Southern Circuit. The 7,800 modifieds and the 8,000 light limiteds, the blown two-wheel drive trucks, the naturally aspirated two-wheel drive trucks, some super stock four-wheel drive trucks are going to make the trip down, as well as the 6250 light limiteds. Looks like tickets are going to be $30 a piece. Kids 6 and up is $20, and then 5 and under is free. Address for the pool is going to be 426 Budmore Road in Cottonwood, Alabama. Sounds like it's about 4 hours north of Ocala. At least that's what the guys are telling me they're going to have to drive down there. So I'm just always along for the ride. I don't know where anything's at. Like I said, it's going to be a Saturday and Sunday show. Saturday is 5:30 start time, and then Sunday as a 3:30 p.m. start time. Going to be a good show. Always is down there. Thought I saw. Yeah, it's at another dragway, the Cottonwood Dragway. Everybody keeps saying it's going to be a really good show, so I'm going to take their word for it. I know all of our guys from up north are going to be going back down. So if you're not looking, or if you're looking for something to do the last weekend of March, head south again. So that's all I got tonight.
That's quick. Okay. And anyway, we have an indoor pool coming up next Friday and Saturday in Southern. It's called the first annual Southern Virginia Winter Classic in the spring. This is actually a rescheduled pool from February. It's March 26th and 27th, 9 a.m. and I believe 6 p.m. are both start times for both days. 2 tracks indoors at the Old Dominion Ag Complex in Chatham, Virginia, on Route 29. So it's they got a nice. I mean, when you think antique tractors, you think of a list of pulls classes about yay long, but they really went through and selected certain classes and added some specialty classes in there as well. And looks to be a really good lineup of classes. So we're looking forward to that. 2 of us are going down, one to film each track, and admission to the complex is $10. If you want to bring the family out, cheap. I'm sure there'll be food there, and if not, there'll be food nearby. And so we're looking forward to that. You can go to their website and pre-register if you're a puller, and I'm assuming I'm sure they're still taking registrations, and it's at swatgiapulling.org, and that's SWATGEA pulling.org. Or you can call Tommy at 540-493-9819. A lot of that information is right below Keith in a scroller, and check it out. Come on out. Yep, right down there. A little further down, but my finger.
Yeah.
And I will say, East Coast Pro Pulling. We're going to get John Smith on here someday, John. We're going to get you on here. I know he's really busy. He's got a lot going on. I know his phone's been ringing like crazy. But I will say May 1st is the first scheduled event for East Coast Pro Pulling. This is the new club derived from the East Coast Pullers. And that'll be May 1st at 6 p.m. at the Greensboro Fire Department in Greensboro, Maryland. Two-wheel drive, Pro Stock diesel, four-wheel drive, hot farm, light protractor, and limited Pro Stock semis. We're slated to run that night, and we got our fingers crossed that we'll be able to take off from the get-go and have a full season. Our fingers are crossed. So,
Say polling season polling season's coming up quick. April will be here before you know it. What, 14 days away? So
you bet. So, but let's talk to a veteran puller. Keith, how you doing, my buddy?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. How about you guys?
Man, we're doing it. Living a dream, baby.
I hear you. I hear you.
We got to, and we'll thank some of our people that are here already. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. Thumbs up, smash the bell for notifications, and share. We appreciate you being here tonight. I'm sure Keith will be more than happy to answer any questions. Just you put questions over there, and we'll put them up on the screen for Keith to see, or if he can see them. And if not, we'll read them to him, and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Within reason, this is a family show. So. But anyway, gosh, where do we start? Keith, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you've been doing. I know you originated in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, and moved to Ohio. And give us a little background on yourself.
Well, like you said, I moved here 16 years ago now to West Central Ohio, and it was 2005. And I moved out here originally to, my family, my dad farmed, and we always were farmers. And when we would come to pull, we always come west to Ohio a lot to pull. And when I was, a young teenager, I'm like, if I was going to go somewhere to farm, I want to move to Ohio or Indiana, somewhere out west. So I got to know the Bargy family, who obviously are well-known tractor pullers of the Judge, and got to be real good friends with his two younger sons, and one thing led to another. In 2004, Ron gave me an opportunity to come work for him, and so I worked for them for 13 years. I'm no longer working for them currently. So I am right now working at a automotive repair garage. It's been going on 2 years. It's locally owned here, right in the little town of Ansonia, and that's where I reside at right now. The house that I'm sitting in, I bought back in 2009, and I wasn't here originally when I moved out, but then my current wife, Erin, and I got married in fall of 2014, and we've got 2 young kids. Allison's 5, and I got a son that's Keaton. Will be 3 this Sunday. So
happy birthday, little Keith.
Yeah.
So Allison will be starting kindergarten next fall, and Keaton will be starting preschool hopefully. So anyways,
it's going to start getting interesting. That's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
My wife works for Ag Protect One, or Premier Crop Insurance, which is owned by Ron Bargy II. She's a crop insurance agent for them, and they just wrapped up with crop insurance sales season here on the 15th. That was the deadline to be signed up for federal crop insurance. So she can relax a little bit more, not be so pressured to get everybody covered with getting everybody to sign paperwork. So anyways, but I still farm a little bit on the side. I helped a little last fall part-time on the side, and then where we're at here, we got 13 acres, and I married into the cattle business. We've got half a dozen head of registered Simmental cattle, beef cattle, and we're in the process right now in the middle of calving out. So we've had a calf every week now for the last 3 weeks. So, and everyone's a little bit different situation, and I'm a total rookie at cattle farming.
So you have a lot of spare time, it sounds like.
Oh yeah.
Spare time. What's that?
Yeah.
The apple didn't fall far from the tree. I cannot sit still. I have to be doing something. So anyways, but that's a little bit about me. What's that?
Keeps you young.
Oh yeah. I'll be 44 or 43 this spring, and there's definitely a difference between 43 and 23.
So, and there's a big difference between 53 and 43.
Yeah. So anyways.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We got some Donald Eshman, first time I've seen you here, unless that's the first time you've logged on. Good to see you, Don. He's a local puller here out of Peckway area, four-wheel drive. Ah, Gosh, I don't know, modified street, if you will, or whatever, pro stock style. But that's awesome. I don't see any of Club Kendra here yet. What's going on?
They're usually late bloomers.
Might be a good thing, huh?
Yeah.
But well, I guess let's talk about your dad, Dennis, or more popularly known as Denny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Kind of give us a little bit like when he started pulling, and when you came into the picture to help him. And
Well, I came into picture 4 months old.
hey, not many can say that.
I don't remember it obviously, but my first pull, I was 3-4 months old, and that was at Myersdale, Pennsylvania. It was the first pull I went to. So I was told.
So you was told, oh, come on, you don't remember?
No.
Well, I think of all the people we've asked that question, you take the cake on the youngest first pull.
That's one of the youngest I've heard.
Yeah, everybody's like, yeah, 5 or 6. You're like, nope, 4 months. I got this.
Yeah. So,
Oh, there's Logger John had a good question there.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, Logger John's asking you if did you start in garden tractors?
no, I did not. Dad did, and I started out pulling farm stock tractors when I was a junior in high school. So, and I just recently brought that tractor back here from Pennsylvania. So it's here with me now. This tractor I pulled with was a Ford 5000 narrow front. So real powerhouse.
I'm surprised they leave Chambersburg area.
Well, I wanted that tractor because it had sentimental value
That's
in it
right.
for me. So,
That's right.
but
So
but now
anyway, go ahead.
Dad started pulling garden tractors. I'm gonna guess he graduated in '73, and I'm gonna say somewhere around that year, maybe '72. They were at the Franklin County Fair in Chambersburg, showing dairy cows, and so him and his buddies were hearing about this tractor pull, and so they went to go see what was going on. And my great grandfather and my grandfather and it's still that way today, into growing hybrid seed corn. And they had a display there at the fair for the seed business. And they had a wheel horse garden tractor sitting there on display that had a detasseler, corn detasseling unit that hung on the side of this wheel horse. So I guess him and whoever else must have talked my grandfather to take this detasseling unit off, and they took that wheel horse down and pulled it. And that's how I got started. So
That's how the pulling bug starts.
yep. And ironically, I have the wheel horse that he first pulled with.
Oh, nice.
It's here with me. So I've got his first one and my first one. So
That's awesome.
And I use both of them. The wheel horse is still a functional tractor. It's not a college junk or anything. So anyway, so I think he built his first mini rod. Well, they went to Kinzer, Pennsylvania, which is over by the Buck, which held a lot of national events back in the day. And he saw his first mini rod over there with, I don't know who all he was with pulling garden tractors, but I can't remember the guy's name. I know it was a Stauffer, related to the Stauffer brothers, they had the Deutz. And he had a mini rod with 2 Corvair engines in it with 18-4-16-1 tires.
Heard about
And
that.
he seen that thing go hauling down the track, and he's like, I gotta have one of them. so anyhow, so he built his first mini. I think it was like '74, and it had 265 Chevy in it. And there's pictures here. I've got a photo album with a lot of his old stuff, from back in the day. So, and it just progressed from there. I mean, like I think I told you back here a few weeks ago. I think this was 47 years. This will be 47th year that he's pulled. So he's been wanting to quit, but I keep pushing at him to keep going, especially now that he's retired. So I'm like, Mom wants him to quit. Mom's commented that, well, he can't do this forever. And I said, well, I didn't say he can't do it forever, but he's retired.
Got a couple more years.
What's that?
Said he's got a couple more years at least.
Oh, yeah. So like, might as well keep pulling. So as you see all those pictures, yeah, I mean, it's I think now that we're starting out this year, we've already went to Ocala, Florida there in January, and we've had a new tractor built, which I think is about gosh, 7th or 8th different tractor, I'm gonna guess, in his time. So he hasn't drove now for the last 2 years, I guess. I think 2017 was the last year he drove. He didn't tell me he wasn't driving anymore. A lot of times we went back in 2000. We had we started with 2 tractors in the year 2000, and then 2009 we did away with the second tractor and was just focused on one. And then him and I would take turns driving. And so like I said, I think 2017 is the last year he drove, and so I've been doing all the driving since. So
Okay.
so anyways, a lot of this stuff that you're bringing up here, that's a lot of that's him driving. So
Yeah, this is actually DuQuoin, Illinois.
Yep.
I was out there every Clint was there two or three times. I can't remember. I was there for all the shows. But he actually won this event.
Who did?
I'm probably it might be this one or is it Cloverdale? One of them here he won.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Events. Yeah.
Oh. That's Cloverdale there because of how hazy it was.
Cloverdale.
Okay.
So, real quick, we have a question. Mike Walker wants to know how they came up with the name for the tractor.
So in that area of South Central Pennsylvania, there is a lot of red fox in that area. And when actually the tractor started out, the name of the tractor was called the Keystone Special. And so there was a puller up by Millmont, Pennsylvania, Brad Shively. So when I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit in my stories here.
No, you speak as you feel. Go right ahead.
So Dad started, of course, running a lot of Pennsylvania state tractor pulls. And back in the day, in 1984, is when he first ran NTPA Grand National. And it was the first year he had a blown motor, 468 iron block Chevy motor in that first aluminum chassis that he had built. And so him and Brad Shively ran together that first year in 84, and they ran together before that, and thinking they ran together up until about 87. And so anyways, I'm getting off track here, Mike, I know. So back in the day when the Red Fox name came about, which was in 84, there was a lot of tractors with so-called, I'm going to say, animal names. So like Brad Shively's tractor was known as the Grasshopper. And then Jim Seiler from Chambersburg, his tractor was called the Gopher. So you had some animal names, and with the fox around the area, it's just fitting. And if you watch pulling, why a lot of announcers will say, there comes Denny Horst to line to see if anybody can outfox the Red Fox. So anyways, it has always worked out well to have that name. So anyways, so anyhow, I guess I'll just keep talking.
Yeah, keep going.
All you. I know there's plenty to talk about.
So Dad has won 6 NTPA national titles, and of course they didn't all come at one time. And like I said, in 84, he started in 84 pulling Grand National, and he won the points the first year he ran NTPA Grand National in 84.
That's impressive.
So they ran 2 weight classes back then, 1750 and 1550. And he won the 1750 class in 84, and Larry Coopshaw won the 1550. And then, so as the sport, has evolved, why, if you don't, step up your playing on, keep up the playing field, while you're left behind. So he probably wasn't maybe keeping up in the horsepower department after 84. And the next championship didn't come till 91. I hear some back feed. Is that me or you? I've got some back feed going on, scratching.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So anyway,
Here it.
so the next championship didn't come till 91. Some major changes was done to the tractor and before that year, and he was getting some pretty good help from modified tractor legend Tim Engler at that time. And back through the late 80s and early 90s, the minis didn't have a lot of hooks back then, and NTPA was mainly the sanctioning body we ran with then. You know, you had the TNT Motorsports organization, and Dad ran some TNT, but not very much. Most of it was NTPA, and so I think in 91 there was probably seven or eight NTPA Grand National point hooks, and Dad won every hook except for one that year in 91.
Wow.
So anyways, then he won the points again in 92, and at that time I was getting to go more, and we always went, especially when we went state pulling, and of course then the Pennsylvania State organization kind of dried up a little bit, and the last time we pulled any PA state stuff would have been like 90 or 91. So when we were younger, my sister and I have a younger sister, younger brother. My sister and I, we would go as long as Mom would go, because Mom don't like to travel. She always went to the closer pulls. So we would go, but Mom would never let me go along with Dad because she was always worried that he wasn't going to watch me. So when I got to be about 12 or 13, then I was going more with Dad. So I was around, like in 91 and 92 when he won those point titles. And then we got a dry spell again, and he built him and Tim Engler built the first chromoly tube chassis that we had, which was patterned off of the big tractors, and that was built in 94. And then it took a few years to get things worked out with that new tractor. And then he won 3 titles in a row in 97, 98, and 99. So, and he almost won the points in year 2000, but we had breakage at the last event, and that cost us another championship. So anyways, but so I started pulling, like I said there earlier, with a farm stock tractor when I was a junior in high school in 96. And Dad wanted, the first pull we were going to go to was in October over at McConnellsburg at the steam gas show over there.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad thought I needed to have some practice runs before we went over there. So we built a track down behind the barn there at home. And Carl and Darren Allison brought the sled down, the Terminator. And the first time I pulled was in the sweet corn patch down behind the barn. So
That's
serious.
We had a
serious
sled.
puller.
Yeah, we had a sled at least. And of course, while the sled was there, well, naturally, we got to hook the rest of the tractors on the farm to see what they'll do, right? So anyways, so I did that for a couple years, running that Ford 5000. And, I didn't have my own weights, so I had to go around to all the other tractors on the farm and take the weights off of all those to weight the thing up for 9,500-pound farm stock. So, so I had enough of that with the tractor I had. I couldn't compete with some of the 2-cylinder John Deeres and stuff that I was running against. I was running against Robert Martin's son, oldest son, Bobby. I ran against him a lot. And so let me think here, 98, winter of 98, I went out west side of Indianapolis to another fellow tractor puller name that you may recognize, George Everett. He had a salvage yard out there. And a lot of times when Dad and I would go pulling out west, we would stop in on, fellow pullers or friends in between events or whatever, just to visit. And we were at George Everett's salvage yard back here in the mid-90s, and he had this Farmall 560, and it had a 436 International motor in it, which was out of a 1466. And the frame had to be stretched. Well, actually, they used the frame rails off the 1466, but they had added 6 inches into the main hood for the hood to fit. So at that time, Interstate Tractor Pullers was running a non-turbo mod stock class of 5,500 and 7,000 pound non-turbo class. So I bought that 560 and we brought it home and done some work on it and ran that tractor for 2 years, 98, 99. So the whole time after Dad had built that tube chassis in 94, the old aluminum frame tractor that he had built in 81, that tractor right there, it was sitting in the basement of the house. And so I kept pushing, about getting that old tractor out and putting it back together. And we still had the old road deck that was in that tractor. And we had a lot of the parts to be able to put it back together. We had to buy some things. And so in year 2000 was the first year that I had pulled a Grand National level mini rod. So, and it wasn't top of the line that year in 2000. It was just enough to get my feet wet till I got, some, practice runs or whatnot, more steep time.
Yeah.
And then in 2001, we had bought a 572 KB Olds motor off of Bill Douglas. He was a modified puller from Canada, and we bought a motor off of his tractor, and which is actually the motor that's in Donnie and Kevin Landis's truck today. So anyways, but so we ran, like I said, we ran 2 tractors for several years. Right there's Fort Recovery. I don't know what year.
Memory. That's right down the street from you.
Oh yeah, 25 minutes north is Fort Recovery.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, anyways, in winter of 2008, December of 2008, why I got this harebrained idea of trying to do a modified tractor, and of course, we got the little brother to the big tractors, the minis.
Yeah.
And of course, Dad and I love watching the modified tractor class, the Unlimiteds, and TPA. So there was a Engler chassis that had been setting that would have been originally built for Robert Elliott, the fancy farmer. And then it had went through I'm not going to go through all of it. It had went through several hands. And the chassis was sitting down in Glasgow, Kentucky at Keith and Ricky Long's shop. So when I moved to this area and being with the Bargees, I went along with the Bargees pulling as well back here, 10 years ago. And a friend of theirs named Chris Shoemaker would always go along to help out or watch or whatever. He had been a pulling fan from pretty much ever since he was a kid. And he liked to modify tractors. And I didn't have the money to try to get into a modified. And I know Dad would help us out. So Chris Shoemaker, he owned a tractor. I think you've seen some pictures here of the Fury. And so Chris and I went down there to Kentucky and brought that chassis home, and Tim Engler helped us out with it. And along with Modern Machine and Tool, they actually did the gearbox and the drive lines for it. And we had 3 motors, 3 Chevys on it the first year, which those motors come off of the Holy Cow of Larry Prokarski. And so we ran that in 09. We had it ready midsummer of 09. And then the next year, we probably got ahead of ourselves a little bit. I want to change the motor configuration around to get some more front end weight. And so we bought some cross boxes to hang the motors on transverse or sideways. So we ended up doing 4 engines then in 2010. And of course, you keep progressing, then you got more work, more weight to keep after. So anyhow, we ran the tractor with Chris from 09 to 2011, and just things went, we went kind of our separate ways, and he ended up selling the tractor, and things just didn't work out very well. But I thanked him for the opportunity because, as a kid growing up, watching Engler and Banners and Hutcherson and all those names, John Shaw, watching all those guys pull, it was an opportunity that, that not many people get, and to be able to sit behind a 4-engine tractor was, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of horsepower, but it weighs, 7,500 pounds. And that little dude right there, 2,050 pounds, and it's making 2,500 horse. Well, that thing goes down track a little bit quicker than the modified does.
Yeah.
So then, anyways, and I think you've been seeing, there's been some pictures there coming up of Brian Schrammick's Youngblood.
Yeah, it'd actually be towards the end, I think, right after the videos, maybe.
Right. So, being as we were working with Angler on our tractor, the Fury, why then Brian Schrammick had acquired that tractor from Tim, because I think it was Steve Klingenberg's. Well, actually, it was built originally for the Martin brothers. Angler had built that tractor for Martin's, and then Klingenberg ended up with it, and then Klingenberg decided to quit. So Tim bought the tractor, and then Brian ended up with it, Brian Schrammick. So, and I think that was the same year that we got started, was in 09. And so we kind of helped out a little bit at the pulls with Brian because he was new to the division. You know, he knows super stock and pro stock tractors very well. And so we started helping out Brian at the pulls. And so in 2010, why the Fort Recovery event, end of July, that was also the same time as the Grand National event in Ionia, Michigan. And the diesel super stock had to be Ionia, and the unlimited had to be in Fort Recovery. So Brian had asked me if I would drive his tractor for Recovery. And I said, I would be honored to if you want. If you feel you trusted me and feel confident that I can take care of it. So anyway, so that was the first time on a 6-engine tractor. And I already had some runs, you know, with a 3- and 4-engine tractor. So I can't remember off the top of my head that in 2010, I know I got second the one time, the one hook at Fort Recovery, but I can't remember when. And then I did drive it again at the last hook of the year in Canfield, Ohio in 2010. So I ran it 3 times there in 2010. So then same situation happened again in 2011, and a lot of changes were made to the engine combination on that tractor, and we were really, really involved with it in 2011. And so I ran a tractor again for him at Fort Recovery in 2011, and yeah. So I first night, I think we had some issues the first night at Fort Recovery, and then the second night, myself and Kathy Archer and Steve Bollinger, us 3 on a pull off, and Archer was sitting in the lead, and I was the last one to hook in the pull off, and I was lucky enough to get the win that night. So and Brian, ironically, Brian was there because the pull in Ionia, Michigan got rained out, so they had hustled to get back down to Fort Recovery, and I was sort of bummed out a little bit because I figured, oh crap, now I ain't gonna get to drive it.
Right.
He got there and he says, nope. He says, I already asked you to drive it and you're driving it. I'm like, okay, you know, and it was very special. And my majority of my family was here when we got that win that night. And it was an opportunity that I'll never forget. And, you know, after that win, and Dave and Ralph Banner were there, they come up and shook my hand. And John Heilman, I mean, you're talking.
There's some legends there, buddy.
Yeah.
Goosebumps. I mean, goosebumps. Yes. You know, after that win.
Awesome.
So it was awesome. Very awesome. So, you know, that kind of come to an end. Brian kept running the tractor. We just went our separate ways on that deal and just focused on the mini rod and 2014 and 15 with the mini that Dad was running while we were struggling a little bit. And we're still one of the oddballs out there, still running a Chevrolet type motor, where everybody else is running a Hemi. And which we like to be different. And so we were really struggling in 2015. And so another puller at the time who was involved with Kevin Criswell and Brad Benedict, by the name of Sam McCrary, who had put a mini rod together that year, and I think it was 2015. and run the same motor combination pretty much that we were. And he got 5th place on Friday night at Bowling Green. And right away, my dad went over to talk to Sam or find this guy and to figure out, what's he got that we ain't got? What are we doing wrong here? So Sam, he has been a tremendous help to our pulling, because otherwise we'd have been done a few years ago with the engine combination we got. So Sam, he's been involved with drag racing ever since he was in high school, and he kind of works on the side with Ed Wasserbeck, a Wasserbeck machine over in Prospect, Ohio, which is over by Marion. And so Sam was in agreement to help us out and dyno our motor, but they had to make a lot of changes to the motor before he would dyno it. And so we got ourselves turned around, and in 2016, we ran PPL for points in 16 and in 17, and I think we got 3rd place both years that year in points in PPL. And so it's still the same motor combination that's in the new tractor. Our old tractor, we keep making more power, and it's hard to get the thing to handle good, get down the track, because everything I've got to go through just to get it down through there. And everybody's going to planetary rears and chromoly tube frames. And the last tractor was actually sort of built through Modern Machine, but not totally. They were busy that winter of 2014 when that tractor was built, and I had the harebrained idea of doing a steel wedge banner type frame. And so that was the tractor we had ran up until this past year. And with the power we keep making, you just keep, wanting to keep load that one tire a lot harder than the other, and it's trying to one wheel because of the driveline torque. So with the planetary rear, you're getting rid of that driveline torque, and now you're putting it out the wheels to try to get the thing to go straight. And that's what we've been struggling with now the last 2 years. And so we ran a tractor down to Ocala there in January, and it's hard to tell because down there it's sand. It's not like running up here on clay. So I can't really tell you, because everybody's asking me, well, how did it feel? Did it feel different, or, I can't tell you. I need more seat time.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
So everything's new except for the motor, clutch, and bell housing with the new tractor. So we're planning on, our plans are as of right now, as long as we get back to normal, is to run PPL points this summer, Champions Tour. We pre-committed to run Champions Tour. So Dad's got a little more free time on his hands since he's retired, and I've got my job. I'm pretty flexible. I got a job or a boss that's very easygoing, so it makes it very nice to be able to take off to go pulling. So,
well, I wish I had it that easy.
Well,
my boss is a real jerk.
Well, when I don't work, I don't get paid. So
Yeah,
that's right.
So anyway, but it does work out very well with where I'm located. That the pools aren't terribly far away. They are, majority of them are out this direction. So the tractor is currently in Florida now, and then we are going to go back here in a few weeks, the weekend after Easter. What is it, the 10th and 11th, I think, in Clay County, Florida. So we had some issues with the motor there at Ocala, so we want to run it again to make sure we've got things solved before the first event in Benson, North Carolina starts. That's the first event in May. I think it's the 21st and 22nd of May is the first event for us. So
it's on my schedule. I'm hoping to get down there for that.
Oh, good. Good. Well, we've been down there. We didn't go last year, of course, but we've been down there several times, and it is a very nice facility. So I hope we get to go, and things will start opening up here. Get back to normal. But Earl Wells does a very good job with that facility down there, and I'm hoping that it can get up to that level of one of the bigger events, because he's got a really nice facility there. So anyway,
that's what I hear. Yeah, but I was gonna real quick. And man, I'm glad you carry the show yourself. You can come on every week if you want.
Well, I've announced some polls, so I've done some announcing already. I'm a jack of all trades, but master of none. But I've always been told that to be able to announce, you got to be able to BS. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I said BS because you told me to keep it clean. So.
But,
All right, so you're going to ask me what?
well, one thing I had made mention when we had Kevin Landis on here a few weeks ago. You were on the chat with us, and one thing I brought up was how smooth through the years I've watched your father, even yourself, how smooth of a driver. You know, it just you could tell the experience. I guess the years under, especially your dad's belt, how smooth he was. Now I'm going back to the late '90s, 2000s, early 2000s, going to Fort Recovery and stuff. You know, when we had a Grand National mini classes out there, we would go out there and I know it's a wild ride. I know they're a handful, but you could clearly see the difference. And it wasn't a horsepower thing, how well your father could handle the tractor then. It just, everybody seemed like they had their hands full, was going everywhere, and he was just like always on a set of rails. It seemed like he was so smooth.
Well, a lot of that is because he's always been very, very conservative. So, I mean, we're not overly blessed with money. So we don't have a spare motor. We've got a lot of spare parts to be able to rebuild the motor we have. So it's always run on the conservative side. Yeah, we tear stuff up. I mean, we burnt pistons and whatnot, but you know, and I think that just comes from all the years of experience, all the stages that he went through, and all the different horsepower levels of different tractors and everything all working up to that. And I'm not taking anything away from anybody else that comes into the sport. I think it's very, very good that we get new blood that comes in to the sport. But with that also comes with Dad and myself. I'm not going to brag on myself. You know, Dad's been doing it forever, and he taught me. So that experience, you can't beat that experience. It's just like with a regular job. You know, you can't. It's just the way it is. So, and he still wants to run conservative, and our dyno guy, he's like, you know, oh man, you left too much on the table, you know? And so it'll be interesting this summer. I hope that we can, with the new tractor, I hope we can keep things together and be able to run all summer. So let Kendra drive the motor home.
Yeah.
When we take the road trip to Benson.
I want to keep the rods inside the block.
So, anyways,
real quick, before I miss it here, John had a question here on what the current horsepower on the Mini is now.
Well, we haven't dynoed it now for a couple years. The last time we had a dyno, it was pushing about 2,500. So we've made some changes since then. It was all last year, since we didn't go very many times last summer. I think the first time we went was like the 15th or 18th of July last year. We went to NTPA regional event in Wilmington. So I would say we're probably making that and maybe not a little bit more out of the thing. And honestly, the block that is in that tractor, Dad bought new in 1993. So we're pretty much to the max on that old girl. So, you know, that's why I'm saying I hope we can run most of the summer and not have too much problems. But that's why he's been conservative too, because he knows that till we get, you know, hopefully maybe, you know, I don't know where the future goes. I mean, I know we're not going to be pulling forever, and you know, we built a new tractor, you know, just one last opportunity to have something good, a good piece under me. And when we are done pulling, we've got something that we can resell and get rid of it pretty quick, because now it's up to date as far as the tractor itself. So anyways, but yeah, the motor's getting some age, but it still runs good for what it is. So
yeah, let's not think about quitting yet.
Yeah.
No,
I think your dad still has. He's still got the giddy up yet. So.
Well, he's slow. He has slowed down a little bit. Of course, everybody does when you get older, right? So, but anyway, just the way it is. But like I say, he was ready to quit here a few years ago, and they decided to, I think probably most of your listeners out there have heard he's moved to Florida. Him and Mom moved to Florida back in January. They bought a house in Lakeland, Florida down there. And so Mom just wanted him to quit before they had moved. And I said, well, he basically, what's he going to do? I mean, he has to have something.
Yeah.
Sit still. So he might as well keep pulling. So anyways, and
You could always go squatching down there. That'll keep him pretty busy.
yeah, I hear you. Well, he's been helping out quite a bit down there. He was at West Palm running the scraper tractor down there both nights. So he enjoys that kind of stuff. He probably, in all honesty, he probably enjoys helping out with pulls, and maybe not so much on the promoting side, but I enjoy that too, because I'm a member of Dark County Tractor Pullers here, and they have their own events that they hold, just like Interstate, sort of. And I go and help them out, and I enjoy that too. I enjoy working the working side of it, as track work or whatever, just as well as pulling. So, and I've helped do the promotional side of it too, and that's no fun either, as you well know. So, it's a lot of time and work, time and effort. So,
Yes, it is.
anyways.
So, through the years, who were some of your favorite pullers? We probably have already kind of sort of touched base on some of them when you got your congratulatory things, but you've been most of your with your father. NTPA Grand National has been your home. Who has been some of your favorite pullers, past and present?
Well, that can be a long.
There's a lot. Yeah, I agree.
Well, with
Who
back
sticks out most?
Tim Engler sticks out the most. He helped out Dad a lot back here in the early 90s. And then, like I said, when we built that first tube chassis, we spent back here in the mid 90s. NTPA didn't have a lot of hooks for us, and United States Hot Rod had a lot of hooks for the minis, and we were running with them. And a lot of the hooks were actually in Indiana, so we spent a lot of time down at Tim's shop those years. And Tim helped out Dad a lot back in the day. So, and he don't help us out today. Things change, but Tim is a very, very knowledgeable puller. I mean, he is him and Banners. I mean, to tell you, that's a rival right there. So anyways, but current pullers, oh gosh.
Remember brownie points you still want to pull.
Oh, I know.
Say whose tractor you want to run this summer.
I've got a lot of respect for Randy Davis. I'll say that.
Yes.
Randy and I talk quite a bit, and he's in the same position I am. He's grown up with it as well. So as far as he don't run national events much, but he's a good puller. He's very knowledgeable, and so hopefully he's going to come down there to Florida here in April. And he told me he's got the big tractor pretty much done, and they are running modifieds down there at Clay County. So I don't know if the big tractor will be down there or not, but anyways, but I still like watching the modified tractors. So we go to a lot more PPL pulls today than what we do in TPA, but we always try to get back up there. If we have already pulled or whatever, we always go up to watch the modifieds. So that's my other favorite class is the mods. So, but I don't know if that answered your question as far as favorite pullers.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's perfect.
So
See how
anyway.
simple that was? You were worried.
Well, I had to think about it.
How about let's see. How about like most memorable events? We'll stick that in the past. We won't say today, unless you want to.
You're saying most memorable events in the past?
Yeah, just something like you've been to an event and
like what really sticks out
wow
when you think back about your history.
Yeah, the wow factor.
Well, I'll tell you some myself and what Dad, as far as because we went together a lot. But the first when Dad won that point title in '84, well then Indy Super Bowl was a big deal back then in January. So in 1985, Indy Super Bowl, that was the first year that they had ran two classes of minis. both weight divisions, because in previous years they only ran the one weight division. And Dad had won both hooks that year in 1985 in the Super Bowl. And at that time, the big name in the mini class was the Mellows, Johnny Mello and Stan Mello and the Wildfly and the Superfly.
Yep.
And their engine builder, Joe Bogosian, he was there with them, and they were from California. And when Dad had won, so Mellows, they had all the latest and greatest stuff. Back then the Rodak motor was the big deal, so they had all the good stuff. And Dad, he just had the 468 iron block Chevy with a little blower on top of it, and went in there and won both hooks. But the track conditions didn't take a lot of horsepower back then. So anyways, after the second night was over and Dad had won, I remember hearing Dad tell the story. Joe Bogosian come over there and looked at that motor in Dad's tractor, looked at it, shook his head, and walked away. So I think that's probably one of Dad's most memorable ones there, as far as that goes. But I got my first Grand National win in 2002 in St. Hyacinthe, Quebec, Canada. And I don't have anything here to show for that first win. And that kind of bugs me a little bit, if you want to call it a memorable moment. I mean, I got my first win, but I don't have anything. I don't have a plaque, I don't have a trophy, no nothing to show that first time that I won. So that's probably a memorable moment for me, is to get the first win that year. And not let alone I got 2 wins that year. And, that was only my 3rd year of driving a Mini. So anyways, it come pretty quick. It came quicker than I thought it would, honestly. So, but oh man, there's a lot of stories. I've heard a lot of them. I've been involved in a lot of them. Some of them are clean, some of them aren't. So, anyways, I think a lot of the stories come just getting to the polls, getting to and from the polls, because
that's half the fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hurry up and wait game, to go to a poll, like going to Toma or Bowling Green, for example. Toma and Bowling Green are 2 big events. And crabbing sakes, Bowling Green doesn't start till Thursday night, and everybody's there on Monday. But anyways, we had, through a lot of the years, Dad had a 1978 Chevy 1-ton dually truck that got us to a lot of the events, and there was always something. Not always, but usually something would go wrong, and through the years you start carrying spare parts just for the truck, not just for the tractor. So just make sure you got to the poll. So I can't remember anything off the top of my head, but back here in '84 when he ran Grand National in '84, my gosh, they were everywhere. I mean, they were down. I think the first event that year was in San Antonio, Texas. They were in Mobile, Alabama. They went up into Canada, into Montreal, at a drag strip. They pulled up there. I mean, they were everywhere that first year in '84 when he ran Grand National. So anyways, I mean, Indiana State Fair, Ohio State Fair, Iowa State Fair, Minnesota State Fair. I mean, he's been a lot of places, and I have too. And I have said that, growing up, through my years of high school and stuff, that when summertime hit, I couldn't wait for school to get done so we could go tractor pulling in the summertime, right? So that I got an opportunity to see a lot of the countryside that most kids probably would never get an opportunity to. And that all comes through pulling. I mean, all the states that there are places that I've been, and all the friends that we've met. I mean, most of my closest friends are tractor pulling oriented. So anyways, but
very true. It's a lot of people call it your second family.
Yep.
Yeah. In some cases, I think for some people it's their first family. Really.
Yeah.
So I travel more with my pulling family than I do my real family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's very true for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
It's wow. That was a lot to talk about, and you got it all out in almost an hour. You did pretty good.
Yeah. Did I talk too fast?
No, man. You made it easy. I'm not used to sitting here and just, wow, he's got this, man. Just
I was going to say, tonight was an easy night. Don't have to think of questions.
I got a script laying here. Yeah.
I know better than that. Logger John wants to know, if you did stop driving the Mini, would you go back to farm stock someday?
Well, Dad,
I'm gonna say that's a no.
well, I have already. So Dad's got 2 tractors now, and they're down there in Florida as well. He's got a 560, Farmall 560, and a Super M that he messes around with. And when he put those tractors together several years ago, that was supposed to be his retirement tractors. So, anyways, and I drove that 560 a few times. That wasn't the same 560 I had. He bought another one after I quit with mine, and I drove it a few times. But yeah, I would, but I get in trouble with my wife with that comment as far as driving farm stocks, because when I quit, I
said there's a story to this.
So when I quit pulling with the modified stuff in 2011, I thought that maybe I better focus on things maybe a little more important in life. And I didn't have a girlfriend or nothing at the time. And all I did was farmed and tractor pulled. That was it. That was my life. So, and I really didn't date a whole lot. And I had to be somebody that was farm oriented and liked tractor pulling for me to get married. So I met my wife. You're going to laugh at this one. I met my wife on a very popular website, which I'm sure you have heard. It's Farmers Only.
Yep.
So she started talking to me first on Farmers Only, and you don't know who the person's name is when you first start talking on there. You just have a username. But her profile picture, she was standing beside a 24.5 pulling tire. I'm like, who is this? Yeah.
Winner.
Yeah. So anyway, so we started talking and found out she was 3 hours south of here. I'm like, phew, well, I don't know about this. 3 hours away. That's quite a ways to go today. But anyhow, so where I'm going with this is her dad is Eric Brooks. He has a super farm tractor called American Ingenuity. And
okay, yeah.
And so he don't pull much now. He still has the tractor. And there's been comments about me maybe driving the super farm a little bit. And from driving a mini rod going back to super farm. Well, from going from a mini rod to a super farm, I mean, it's like night and day difference. So when I have drove the farm stock stuff with Dad before, and like, well, you drive that farm stock tractor, why wouldn't you drive Dad's super farm? So anyways, but so yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, I'll drive about anything. I just ain't drove the super farm. So, I mean, and I got the opportunity to drive Landis's Ridge Runner, 2-wheel drive truck. Yeah. So that was an opportunity that I did that at Bowling Green.
Yeah, was that the year I went? 2004, I believe.
What year?
Was it 04 you drove it?
No, it should have been
2014.
Yeah, I think it was 14.
That was the year I went out. He drove it the first time, and I think you ran it the second time. Yep.
Yep. So, like I said, the motor in that truck come out of the mini rod, and we had the motor on the modified for a while, and then Donnie and Kevin bought that motor, and so I got an opportunity to drive a 2-wheeler once. It was all right. It was not as fast as a mini rod going down the track, but you know, and those things, you know, you got to have a lot of seat time to drive a 2-wheel drive truck. So, because it's night and day different from driving a tractor. So anyways.
And Kevin is one heck of a good track reader. He can wheel that truck. I think you could probably put him. I don't know if he would drive a Mini, but I think you could put him on just about anything. He could probably drive it.
Yep.
Of course, he's another one that started young like yourself and doing it. You know.
Yep. Cool. So, anyways, yeah, I got the opportunity to drive I drove minis and modifieds and 2-wheel drive trucks, and farm stock's where I started out at. So
might as well add super farm, pro stock, and
I guess
super stock, and just keep on going. Drive them all, semi.
I don't know about a semi, but anyways, but I would, if I got back into a modified tractor, it would just be a 2-engine tractor, you know, just to pull state and regional stuff with. lot less work, and you can, I mean, here where I'm at, there's a lot of NTPA regional events and Ohio State pulls. I mean, you can go to a lot of events, drive very far away from home if you had a modified tractor. So
I was going to say, a certain time of the year, you could pretty much pull every night, couldn't you?
almost,
Yeah.
almost. Yep.
It's insane the amount of. I won't say the word insane is wrong. If you love pulling,
Yeah.
where you're located is the place to be. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I used to drive there. We used to go there twice a year to Fort Recovery
Yeah.
for the July show, the Grand National Hook, and then the Interlake.
Yep. Yep.
Lived for that. I didn't care what was going on back east. I was going to Fort Recovery, Ohio.
Right.
Love
Yep.
that place. Okay.
Well, it's still going strong up there. So they'll have their first event here in first weekend of June, which will be a PPL Champions Tour event, and then they'll have their Grand National event the last weekend in July. So we'll be up there.
The Enderleys moved to
Urbana.
Urbana. That's it.
Yeah.
I've been through there before. So.
Yeah, over there at the fairgrounds is where the Enderley is now. So
That used to be the Mad River Valley Nationals, I believe it used to be called.
I
Probably
think
that was Urbana, Ohio.
yeah, Champaign County Fairgrounds over there is where the Enderley's at now.
Okay.
Yep. Oh yeah, we like going to Fort Recovery. That's not very far from here, and that's one of my dad's favorite pulls. So
I'm not that fortunate. That's quite a hike.
and Bowling Green's only a little over 2 hours from here. So yeah.
That was a blast. That was my first time to Bowling Green in 2014.
Yep.
And, man, whew,
yeah.
it was a blast. Everybody's got to go at least one time.
I tell you, talking about events, we went to Farley, Iowa last year, and that's going to be an event that's really gonna grow. I mean, the Simons own that facility, and they help promote that event out there, and they done a really good job. I mean, that track there is probably the best track that we have ever been on. So
good.
Wow.
They had Jim Miller and his crew out there doing the track building, and Jim Miller, he's a track builder extraordinaire. I mean, that guy can take dirt and make it into something where most people can't. He does a really good job at building tracks, and so that's going to be another event I think that's really going to grow in the coming future. So,
Farley, Iowa. How about that? How long has that event been going on?
last year was the first year they had it. Okay. Yeah, it's a dirt race track. It's a dirt roundy around track, and they put two pulling tracks down on the infield. So anyways, yeah, last year was the first year, and they originally were scheduled to go the second weekend of June last year, and then things with everything that transpired, it got pushed back to August, and then so now this year it will be the second weekend of June. So
he beat you to it, Kendra.
Yep, I was going to say
Kendra's favorite
that's
questions.
usually one of my questions.
favorite place to pull?
Mm-hmm.
I already said it. Fort Recovery.
Yes, say Fort Recovery.
Yep. I like Bowling Green. Bowling Green's all right. Bowling Green, the atmosphere is a more hectic pace because it's such a large event and so many vehicles, and everybody's spread out. So you don't see everybody throughout that weekend. Where Fort Recovery, it's a big event, but not like Bowling Green, and it's lower key. You know what I'm saying? It's not
the
like
pits are way more confined. That's not a long walk to go.
Right.
From one end of the pits to the other.
Right. Yep. So
you can spend the day walking around.
Oh yeah, easy. If you don't have a golf, you better have a golf cart if you're going to come to Bowling Green.
Yeah.
So
especially if you're going to go out in the back 40. So.
Yep. Toma, Wisconsin was always one of our favorites too to go to every year, and we haven't been to Toma in several years. I don't know if we'll get to go up there this year. We'll just have to see where we're at after Farley. But Toma is a very good event as well. That's the big three is what I call is Toma, Chapel Hill, Bowling Green. That's the three big events for pulling as far as I'm concerned. So,
and I'm sure there's been more than one logger, John.
Oh, close calls with the mini? You mean like
disaster?
You mean like flipping it over, crashing?
I've seen it happen.
Huh?
I've seen them go over.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, knock on wood. We have never flipped a Mini clear over. Back in 2001 at Toma, with my tractor, my Mini that I had, another Red Fox. It was the first run on Friday night with it, and with a new motor, and we just didn't have enough front end weight on it. And I guess being as I was still somewhat of a rookie, I guess I kind of panicked and dropped the front end down pretty hard. And then we didn't have skis back then on the underneath the frame, and part of the frame dug into the track, and it got it up on its side, but it didn't lay it clear over. So that was the only ever close call that I've had. Dad's nothing's ever really transpired, honestly, through all his years of pulling. I mean, like you were just saying earlier, he's just, I ain't saying he's that good. It's just that it's just the years of seat time.
Mr. Smoothie.
Just all the years of seat time, So anyways.
Well, that's great. Come on, Kendra, what you got?
He's done. Like, he's answered every question.
I made it too easy.
I'm like, I've got nothing. I mean, he's gone over the history. We've gone over where the name came from, all the good tracks.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of any other funny stories, but
what about we actually already talked about this a couple of weeks ago. With the advent of roll cages, obviously, to have run a mini tractor without one would be nuts, personally. But you had mentioned it mentally makes you run harder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it just makes you. I think the word I used was invincible. I think that
Yes.
In any of the tractor categories with cages, I think you see more stuff transpire because you've got that in your mind that you're contained in that cage and you're strapped in there, and you try to hang on a little bit longer. It's getting out of whack a little bit, and you're trying to hang on to hopefully maybe correct it, and then things transpire. But
because sometimes it can be just as dangerous to get out of it as it is to stay in it.
Right.
If you're in a bad spot.
The minis have had cages on since 1990, and back then, the reason that transpired because there had been a few incidents before with drawbars breaking, and they didn't even wear seat belts or nothing, and some guys had got thrown clear out of the tractor. So then in 1990, the NTPA Mini Rod Divisional Committee had drawn up their own roll cage, and at that time, SFI would not adopt it or certify as if it was an SFI cage. So the mini class had their own, drawing of a roll cage, and then that was that way until 99, I guess. And then SFI come into the picture for the big tractors, but they would not adopt the cage that we already had. They had their own ideas of the way the cage should be built, so everybody had to change the roll cage I think it was for the 99 season.
I bet that made everybody really happy.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you were pounding on them, X amount of years earlier.
Right. And the cage that SFI came up with was heavier, than what we had before. So our weight class then was 1,850 pounds. So then when the SFI cage came into play, that's when we went to 2,000 pounds. So, and now we're 2050. So anyways.
Awesome. Well,
but yeah, the cage just, I would never drive one today without one. No way. No way.
I even made mention.
So
I think it was 99. Well, 99, I guess they were mandatory.
Yes.
And I remember going to Westminster, Maryland, which was our first hook of the year for this area. And first one I walked up to was Martin's. And I said, man, they look good with cages on them. They should have been on here all along, Obviously with the previous history with Rose and some others that, whatever.
Yeah, I was
yeah.
I guess another subject called me scariest moments too was I was standing there in the starting line when that Randy Rose incident happened, and I'm telling you, that was I'll never forget that one. I mean, you would have thought sure he was going to be gone because that tractor was on top of him. So
We were home. I had a VCR tape, and this is a long time ago. A VCR tape and a recorder.
Yeah.
Watching it, I guess it was on TNN or TNT
Yeah.
or something.
TNN,
And,
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Rodland Knox was being interviewed.
Yep.
And you could hear the thing take off and go in the background, and then you see the look on her face.
Oh yeah, we could hear the crowd's reaction in the
Yes.
background.
And
Yeah.
it wasn't too long after that, we all, of course, that was back before the internet was really huge, I guess. And
Yeah.
but yeah,
And I'm sure you've seen, video of when Lee Swift, Mr. Thundermaker, had broke for loose from the sled and barrel rolled a couple times.
Yeah.
That was in a pull off in 2003, and him and myself and my dad, all three of us were in the pull off that day. And he had went first in the pull off, and I was the next one. So I was already sitting in the seat strapped in, and that all transpired. And Dad come back here to me. He says, "Don't think about that. So don't let that get in your head." So anyway, so that's
easier said than done.
Yeah, I know. So that was, you don't want to see that happen to anybody. What happened to Lee that day, but that's a memorable moment for me because that was the only time with the two tractors. When we had two tractors, we got first and second that day. So that was the only time it ever happened that him and I were going to pull off and we got first and second. So anyways.
Okay. Huh. Wow. Yeah, I remember that. I wasn't there for it, but I remember seeing it.
Yep. Anyways. And I guess
a lot of those guys, do they even pull anymore?
Who?
Lee Swift and some of those other guys.
No. I tell you, in the mini division, there's only about two guys left that's pulled the longest, and that's Dad and Rick Peters. They're about the only two left that's been, back in the 80s that's still pulling today. So everybody else is come and gone.
Yeah, Bruce Slay, however you say his last name. Do they still pull any? Or
oh yeah, PPL. Him and his son, Bruce and Tyler, they pull. They have two tractors they run, and they run primarily PPL. They'll run some NTPA, but primarily PPL. So I guess too, the other scary moment was I was sitting at the 300-foot mark at Fort Recovery when the Walsh accident happened. And I watched that happen as well. And so, I mean, very scary incident there as well.
I was not there for that one. That's at the time frame that we would go both times that year or during the year, but that's the one event we did not go to.
Yeah.
And
if
I'm kind of glad. That's kind of
if you've not been to Fort Recovery since, why now at the end of the tractor is about 5 or 6 rows of water barrels, and then with a concrete barrier behind that yet. So anyways.
Yeah, I remember seeing that actually the next time we went out there.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, that was an ugly deal.
Yes, very much. So.
Well, Keith, we won't tie you up anymore. We've been here an hour and 15 minutes, and man, it's been fantastic hearing your stories and stuff.
Yep.
This is what this show's all about. This is what we want. So
you set a new standard for people coming on here.
That's right.
I don't know about that. Well, I don't mind talking, so that's what I volunteered to you to come on if you wanted me. After listening to Kevin talk, Kevin Landis talk and all the stories that he had and stuff, I'm like, well, I can do that. I can tell stories. So, anyways.
Actually, they're going to be on here soon. I had made mention to Kevin after the show that we wanted to get Donnie on too.
Okay.
Donnie's been at it forever.
Oh yeah.
Well, hasn't driven in quite a few years now, but
right.
He's actually going to go over to his dad's house one night, and we're going to get them both on. So.
He's probably pulled longer than my dad has, if I was to guess. I don't know what.
Yeah, it
was probably early 70s when he started pulling, if I'm going to guess. So.
Yeah, they've been at it for a long time. So.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, you guys do a good job with this, and I enjoy watching every week. So it's
you might
good.
know this guy too. I'm not sure. I'm sure.
Don Dean, yeah, I know Don Dean.
He's been on here a couple times now. Don, thanks for tuning in, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
he come out and pulled several times with us last year. At
Yeah.
Snyder County pools. And,
Yep.
and,
He is.
yep.
He is a very crafty puller.
Yes, he is, and he actually helped Len Brookhart
Okay.
at our last pool of the season in
Yep.
Hanover, or
Yep.
whatever it is there, the Speedway.
Lincoln.
And,
Yeah.
Lincoln. And, you outdid Kevin. That's no small feat. Mike Walker says you outdid Kevin. That's no small feat. Kevin's a talker, let me tell you. But anyway, they had split the injector hat, and that would have been at the night before in Snyder County, in Sealands Grove, and of course they trucked down and to
Lincoln.
You'll
So it's a
understand
really
when you get
easy
older,
word.
Kendra. You'll understand when you get older, Kendra. And but
It's why I'm here.
They pitted side by side, and so he started. They were going to scratch because obviously the tractor wasn't going to run. He said, "Oh no!" And I remember he walked over and said, "Come over here." And I guess they had the stuff that they got it fixed and won. They won the class that night. So
Okay.
Don Dean gained several fans that night from the Len Brookhart crew.
Mhm.
They patched him up.
Yeah, Don had come over when I would go with Bargie's pulling a lot back in the day, and Don he'd come over here quite a bit, or he'd be between pulls, and because Don helped them out quite a bit, with the turbines that they had on the tractor, and so he's definitely a turbine whiz.
Yes. Yeah, I really enjoyed the few years he ran the turbocharged Hemis.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, I've seen a lot of aluminum fires, but
now you want to talk stories. Ron Bargie, he's the one that needs to write a book, because that man has a lot of stories, because he's been pulling longer than my dad has.
Yeah,
so there's a wealth of knowledge there, and all the stuff that he had seen in his lifetime in pulling, because he had been doing it pretty much. I ain't saying from the start, but he was there. He's been doing it for a long time.
I remember him, 1976 on, I guess, at the Buck when had the summer nationals and fall nationals at the Buck.
Yeah.
And he was always one of the guys that would be there.
Yeah.
Along with Banner Brothers.
Yeah.
And, back then we didn't have blower tractors here, really.
Right.
Those guys come in there with Allisons and even single and twin, blown and then triple. That was really cool stuff, man. As a kid, you're like, wow, because you didn't see that locally. But,
I don't want to take up any more time. But I did miss in 2007. Bargie's had bought back one of the twin Allison tractors that they had. So I had helped out with that. So I drove a twin Allison tractor back here in 2007. And I was rookie of the year in Ohio State Tractor Pullers that year. The Allisons are definitely a breathe of their own. They're awesome. Those engines, the way they're built. So, and Steve Bollinger built those motors for him on that tractor. So
there's a wealth of knowledge there too when it comes to 12 Allisons.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Those guys are tough.
Yep, definitely.
I miss Grand National polls. Yeah, I have nothing against PPL. I guess I need to just drive and come to some national events. Is what I need to do. You know what I mean?
Find an airplane.
What's that?
Find an airplane. Jump on a plane. That's all. Heck, that's what my dad's been doing the last couple of years. The tractor will stay here and he'll fly back and forth. So
what the heck, beach driving, I guess. But
well,
I'm not a big fan of flying. So
okay.
At least not in the air. All right. Well, it's Iron 20. We're gonna pull the plug here, and Keith, we appreciate it, man.
Yep, no problem.
And, I don't know if there's anything left to talk about in the future, but we'll definitely have you back on here for something.
That'd be fine.
I'm sure we can dig up some more dirt. So.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
we appreciate it coming on here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
You're
All
welcome.
right. Kendra, you got anything?
Yep. Nope. I'm
sure.
I'm done.
No interstate.
I've got nothing. Interstate, same old. No new news tonight. So
Okay.
Still waiting.
Okay. We'll be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Maybe with John Smith. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll try to get one of the guys from this indoor event that's coming up next Friday and Saturday, the Southern Virginia Winter Classic. So that's March 26th and 27th. You've seen the scroller running all shows. So, but we're gearing up to go for that, and hopefully I'll get John or one of them guys on here, or somebody. We'll get somebody on here next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. So until then, we appreciate it. You guys coming in here. Like, subscribe, share, hit the thumbs up, all that good stuff, and ring the bell for notifications. I am considering a video show this Saturday evening, if all goes well. It's been two or 3 weeks now since we've had one, and we've been getting some questions when we're going to do another one, which is good. I'm glad to hear the positive feedback. So I'm going to try to have one this Saturday. I won't promise you because I got a lot of stuff to do to get ready to go away next week. So, but if I can make it happen, it's going to happen this coming weekend. So ring the bell, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, because you won't know unless you ring the bell. So,
Yep.
We'll see you then. So
I like Logger John. I'm speechless, and that doesn't happen often. So good job, Keith. Logger John said I'm speechless.
We're not picking on you, Keith.
Yeah.
I promise you, we're not picking on you.
See,
No,
I
honestly,
used to
I
have
don't know.
all kinds of questions, and you answered them all.
Oh, even Paul Booth. Everybody knows Paul Booth.
Yep.
World famous Paul Booth.
He used to pull modified tractor, right?
4-wheel drive trucks.
Oh, 4-wheel drive truck. That's right. I can't remember the name of the truck. I can't remember the name of the truck though.
He had a truck called Deputy Dog,
Yeah.
a Chevy, and he had an S10 Chevy Honkin' Hog.
Okay. Yeah.
Both those trucks were sold, and then he helped with his cousin Leroy. Kevin Seuss had bought the Three Bears truck.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Leroy Booth, his cousin, drove it. Of course, Paul trailered it back and forth and helped set the truck up. And Paul's a genius when it comes to setting a 4-wheel drive truck up. And now he's helping Dan Savage, who also owns the old Three Bears truck. So
yeah.
Yep. That's
Well, I appreciate the comments from Logger John, but I'm not sure if I knew who Logger John is.
He's Canadian, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
that
he's
much.
Canadian.
Oh, he's a
I do
Canadian.
know that
Every
much.
week.
Okay.
He's here every week. We actually have a few that's here every week, and we
Yeah.
seem to gain a few new ones every week, which we appreciate. So,
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
but, okay. Thanks for tuning in. We'll hopefully see you this weekend with a video show. If we don't see you then, we'll see you Wednesday night at 8 p.m.